There sure seems to be a lot of confusion on whatever Sony is doing with their Marvel characters. Directors and actors are saying one thing, the studio is saying a different thing, the people running those departments are saying conflicting things, the people in charge of those properties are also saying conflicting things. Now Sony says none of their Marvel movies are connected to the MCU. Boy, those Tyrese Gibson comments definitely put Sony on their toes. I can just see Kevin Feige booting up his phone because he's got 10,000 notifications. He checks it and he's like, since when is Morbius in the MCU? Calls up Rothman, Abby, rectify this quick. Because Sony did. You know, they issued that statement saying, no, Tyrese is wrong. Then they followed that up with another interesting statement saying, and I quote, Morbius does not take place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As with all of our other solo movies, the studio is actively developing. Morbius resides in the Sony universe of Marvel characters. So this takes us, I guess, well, it's never really been 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's always 1 step forward, 2 steps back with Sony when it comes to how this whole thing works. But at least now they've issued this statement, so my guess is that this involves the recently announced Kraven the Hunter. Obviously Morbius falls in with this for now, but we still don't know if this is one of those misdirects or not, which some people still suspect. I'm just going to assume at this point that Sony is doing their own thing, sort of like the Marvel Netflix things, where they're looking at the MCU and wink and nudging that they're existing in it, but the MCU proper is never actively going to actually acknowledge the existence of Morbius, Venom, or anything unless they're forcefully, forced to do it, I guess, in the multiverse. That's the only way they'll acknowledge it. Other than that, they'll just be like, don't worry about it, and Sony will be like, yeah, remember the incident? They'll do that type of Netflix thing, which I guess does make sense to some degree because now we're seeing all sorts of different rights and distribution rights with Sony and Netflix and Amazon and Disney. So who knows what, years from now, like a year and a half, 2 years from now, we're going to have a clear picture. But for right now, this is what they're saying, and it's all we got to go by. This is all we have. Until we see it for ourselves, we can't really say they're lying to us. Although they might be, we just don't have any idea. But this is PR talk, so it is what it is, and we gotta just wait and see what happens.